Yo, what is going on, guys? SMH Super Mario Hoops back with some more hoops, and today we are hopping right back into our top 50 list in NBA history. Now for today we got none other than Stephen Curry. Now where do I have Steph Curry all time? As of today I have him ranked at number 19, and that might surprise you, but hold on a sec before you jump to conclusions. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell before I give my explanation. Feel free to comment down below, maybe if you disagree or if you do agree, but without further ado, let's get into Steph Curry. Now over his career, he has been a 7-time NBA All-Star every year from 2014 to 2019, and then also 2021. Of course, as we know, he missed most of the 2020 season with injuries. He also has made All-NBA teams 7 times in his career as well, including first team All-NBA in 2015, 2016, 2019, and 2021. He made second team in 2014 and 2017, and he made All-NBA third team in 2018. In fact, he even is a 2-time MVP in 2015 and 2016, along with being a 2-time scoring champion in 2016 and 2021. In 2016, he was also the steals leader, as well as being part of the 50-40-90 club, and he's a 3-time NBA champion in 2015, 2017, and 2018, of course none of which he was the finals MVP. In terms of MVP shares, he has 8 times where he has received votes over a season, 4 times he was a top 5 finisher, and twice he won in 2015 and 2016. 2016, of course, was the year he became the unanimous MVP, and they went 73-9. For some all-time stats, he has a 90.7% free throw percentage, good for first all-time. 62.6% true shooting is good for 4th in NBA history. A 24 PER is 16th all-time. .206 win share per 48 rating, good for 21st all-time. 6.2 offensive box plus minus, good for 3rd in NBA history. 6.5 box plus minus, good for 11th all-time. 56.3 VORP rating, good for 29th all-time, and 117.9 offensive rating, good for 25th in NBA history. So as we can see, Steph Curry is among some of the best ever when it comes to his efficiency and offensive output. Of course, his defensive side of the ball has never really been a strong suit for him. I mean, much like Allen Iverson, Curry has a tendency to gamble a lot defensively while also looking for shortcuts on that side of the floor. And as a result, some teams target him and take advantage of that weakness. But let's move on and discuss Steph Curry in the playoffs. And you aren't going to like what you're about to hear, but statistically speaking, he declines in the postseason. His efficiency drops, his BPM drops, his win share per 48, his offensive rating, his defensive rating all get noticeably worse in the postseason. He's a less efficient distributor of the basketball in the playoffs, along with being in more foul trouble, probably largely due to the fact where teams exploit their weaknesses, such as Curry's gambling tendency on that end of the floor. See the 2016 NBA Finals, for example. Now, the two major things that either stay the same or improve in the playoffs for Curry is his rebounding ability and his free throw efficiency. However, Curry has averaged over 20 points per game in all 22 playoff series for his career, and 6 of which he has averaged over 30 points per game. And he has also shot over 40% from the field in all 22 series, along with 40% from three-pointer in 13 of 22 series. But on the other hand, he has only shot above his regular season average for both categories in 5 of 22 playoff series, and as you could have expected, none of these were in the NBA Finals, where he has yet to win a Finals MVP, and many deem this to be his biggest hole in his resume. But when it comes to the 2015 Finals MVP, people have tried and tried for so many times to say Curry was robbed, but he wasn't. As a scorer, you could argue either or. I mean, like with Curry, he averaged 26 a game. Iggy averaged 16 a game, but Iggy was also more efficient from the field, from 3, and in terms of true shooting, Iggy was also the better rebounder, and as a facilitator, he truly was better. Iggy had a 4-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio compared to 1.35 for Steph Curry, which is just bad, especially for a point guard. And then people would bring up the double team argument, and I'll tell you right now that Steph in this series received less double teams than even in 2018. And he was primarily guarded by Matthew Dellavedova in this series. And also, shouldn't a double team bring out more in your abilities as a facilitator? Because someone is going to be open. Iggy had a higher net rating, a higher BPM, and the Cavs, remember, were up 2-1 before Kerr inserted Iggy into the starting lineup, where he averaged 27-4 on 48% from the field and 41% from 3 in the last 3 games. And now I'll get to it. While shutting down LeBron James. People think LeBron in this series was great, and we understand his situation, but Iggy kept him in check. After all, the only way that they were going to lose this series was to LeBron. They had no Kyrie, they had no Kevin Love, and LeBron got his numbers, but it was on terrible shooting splits and over 30 field goal attempts a game. And at the end of the day, even if Iguodala didn't win Finals MVP, the guy that was second in the running was LeBron. So as for Steph Curry, a guy who was league MVP this season, there has never been an instance where a player got 0 votes for the finals MVP in place of 1, a role player, and 2, a guy on the losing team. And there is no disputing that. His 2016 season was great, 73-9 on arguably the most efficient single season. We aren't disputing that, but we're talking about the playoffs now. And at the end, he ultimately choked the worst 3-1 lead in NBA history, even worse than the one he came back from in the conference finals that year. And even if they didn't choke it, then Draymond Green would have been the finals MVP. But Curry had double the turnovers as assists on about 37% from the field and 35% from 3 in the finals 3 games. 0 points in the final 7 minutes of game 7, and he was locked up at the end by Kevin Love and got the shot of all shots hit on him by Kyrie Irving. I mean, it was just embarrassing. He was outplayed by LeBron and Kyrie for the entirety of the series, and some blame this on Curry's injury, but if that's the case, then why was he playing so well in the Oklahoma City series? See, it just doesn't make sense, because people want to use an injury as an excuse, but then they'll say the last series against OKC was just greatness, and then they bring it back up when he plays bad. And then in the summer they added Kevin Durant, and this is the hilarious part, because so many NBA fans will say that Durant's rings don't count, but then they do for the rest of the Warriors. That's because there's a term that I don't think anybody's ever quite used, but I am now for instances like this, and that's ring coaxing. When you invite a super team to your place, because any person that assumes they signed Kevin Durant without informing the Warriors star players ahead of time is ridiculous. They knew. Now maybe Russell Westbrook and OKC didn't, but the Warriors knew, and they embraced it. And after 2 more years, they would win 2 more rings that nobody to this day gives much credit to. And of course it's a title, but it doesn't hold nearly the value of other ones. And another thing people will say about Curry to try and validate these 2 rings is that he carried a team prior to this in 2015 to a title. And to that I say is Klay Thompson was an all-star and all-NBA player that season. And remember how everyone had been saying Giannis's ring this year doesn't hold much value because the Nets were injured? Well, in 2015, the Warriors faced an injured Drew Holiday, Mike Conley, Tony Allen, Dwight Howard, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Love, all of which were probably top 2-3 players on their respective teams at that point. And people even rarely mention the Grizzlies series when Memphis was up 2-1 with Game 4 at their home house. And then that's when Tony Allen, aka their best defender, got hurt. But moving on to 2018 when they won the finals, which probably wouldn't have even happened if CP3 for Houston was healthy, people think Curry deserved this finals MVP. And that again is because Durant was by far the best scorer, the most efficient scorer, the better rebounder, the better defender, a better net rating, a better true shooting. He was even a more efficient facilitator, all on a lower usage percentage as well. People want to use the argument that Curry saw more double teams, which again brings me to 2015 in the finals. If you are being double teamed, 1 or more of your teammates is open. So why is it that you are still a less efficient distributor of the basketball and have a lower net rating than the players who won finals MVP if the impact drawn from your double team is the biggest difference in the series? It just doesn't add up. Now, his 2019 run to the finals was probably the best sighting I've seen of Steph Curry in the playoffs. You see, I don't only focus on the stats, but also the context, and what Curry did in 2019 to the Rockets and Blazers after losing Kevin Durant, but especially since that Rockets team the year before almost beat the Kevin Durant Warriors. Now you lose Kevin Durant and the Rockets have Chris Paul back, and Steph Curry in those last few games was insane. Him and Klay Thompson just took over. And then what he did against the Blazers was also insane. They had a great defensive game plan as well to double team Dame, and on the offensive end, Steph and Draymond were just unreal. But in the finals, he again did not impress me. Sure, he had a high scoring game 3 without Klay, which amounted to nothing but a blowout loss, but even without Kevin Durant, this team won a title together, right? So they still should have been able to compete if this is the logic we're going off of. And in the games Klay was active, the Raptors won 3 of those 5. And again, you can even argue that Steph wasn't the best player on his team in this finals either, because Klay, when he was playing, nearly averaged the same amount of points on way better efficiency and a way more important role defensively and a way higher net rating. Remember, the only reason they were even in Game 6 was because of Klay and his 30 points. And Curry in this game 6 is a little overblown by his standards. I mean, he was horrible in the first half, and in the third quarter he was better, but Klay was still the best player on the floor in this quarter and, again, the game as a whole. In the fourth, Curry again came up small. 1 for 6 from the field, 0 of 4 from 3, ultimately missing the last shot in Oracle that would have won them the game and forced a game 7, which brings up the Max Kellerman I want Iguodala moment. But to be real, Iggy is that guy. I mean, in fact, people clown Max for that and still do to this day, but Iggy was the guy who hit the Game 2 dagger right after he said that to even up this series at 1-1. And in the Game 6, he outscored Steph, and he was more efficient than Steph, a better net rating than Steph, a better BPM than Steph. And this past season was a fun one for Curry, but again, he fell short. I still remember the people who said Curry would lead them to a top 4 seed prior to the year and would win MVP even after Klay Thompson got injured. And nobody in their right mind thought the Grizzlies would end the season atop of them, but in the play-in, they did. And it's not like Curry was bad for a majority of the play-in, except for the overtime against an inexperienced Ja Morant where he simply was outplayed. So when it comes to Stephen Curry, he is overrated. And I'm already prepared for this to be my most ratioed YouTube video, but I don't care. Yes, Steph Curry changed the game, but you guys act like he's the only one who's ever changed the game. It's called recency bias, or being stuck in the moment, or disrespecting players of the past. I've never seen a player get more praise for off-ball gravity than Steph Curry when he arguably isn't even the greatest at doing that, and rather the guy that ranks right above him on my list might be. It's not a secret that he underperforms in every finals and is yet to be more efficient in any of them than his regular season average, while choking hard in some of them as well. I see people say he's top 10 all time, and that's just ridiculous. Top 15 is still a bit extreme, although it's a little bit more understandable, and he'll likely end up there at least by the end. His 2015 ring is no different than any other ring against injuries, and actually might be one of the worst considering they face big injuries every round. 2017 and 2018 rings have little value from everyone on those teams. It's not just Steph, for Durant, for Klay, for Draymond, and so on. And his 2018 Finals MVP case is just laughable, especially since in Game 4 when they were blowing out Cleveland, they intentionally tried inflating his stats just so he could be the Finals MVP, and it didn't work because you gotta earn those things. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know you probably didn't. If you did though, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. I'm just giving my thoughts on all these players. I think this one might be the longest of all the videos because I just have a lot to say about Steph Curry. I think that people are getting too far with overrating him, and I get it. He's been great. He's one of the best point guards ever. He's one of the best active players ever. He's the greatest shooter ever. But people got to realize that there's more to the game than just that. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching, and I'm out. Peace.